Let me put it on record that we are live on Channel 1 TV and it's Scorecard. Let me also put it on record that Liverpool Football Club have played opponents this season. And I just want to put that on record. So as far as this weekend is concerned, Barcelona lost, a.k.a. the offside merchants. Real Madrid won. They are just a point behind Barcelona now. There was the big game in Germany between Dortmund and Bayern Munich. That game was an absolute feast, even though there was no winner. So we'll get to that as well. Really, all in all, a very good weekend. Most teams had big wins. Arsenal, big win. Chelsea, big win. Liverpool, big win. Man United, big win. It was just Manchester City that were the anomaly. So I noticed that it was smiles all around generally. Like, people were generally happy this weekend. I'm not sure how my two good friends here are feeling. Coach and Susu Graham, welcome to the show, guys.
Apeke.
Oh, Charlie.
Amore apeke.
Oh.
Apeke. Amore apeke.
You don't mean it.
I've told you last week. I came here and I launched the song, having spoken to Kim Paluta. Said that Charlie, our new coach is in.
Yeah.
So he has to pick. And then he said, Coach, you have the liberty.
You mean giving the liberty to
use the song to welcome the man. Amore apeke. Apeke.
Coach, I have a question. When you score, you dance 90.
Charlie, this breakdance is serious.
I didn't used to do those things.
Okay. The way you're giving them.
No, Charlie, the breakdance is serious. What's good for? What's going on?
Oh, me, my team we are plodding along. We
You're
are doing the small we can
But
do.
Charlie, all said and done, Pep is suffering. The man is
The
suffering.
man said,
Charlie,
For the first time, he said,
when it ever gets to that,
yes.
it reminds me of the respect. You know the Mourinho press
Yep.
conference?
Yep.
Respect. Reminds me of that.
yeah. Well, good times for a lot of teams, not such good times for Manchester City. Let's do a quick turnaround. When we come back, we'll get into highlights for the weekend. Welcome back to Scorecard here on Channel 1 TV. Let's get into the highlights. Now, there's a London derby to get things started. West Ham United were at home when they took on Arsenal Football Club. Arsenal have proven that they are a very formidable side despite all the turmoil they suffered at the start of the season. So let's get the highlights. It was a pretty interesting game. Lots of goals, especially in the first half. Arsenal missed Thomas Partey due to a muscle injury. It didn't matter. They didn't miss a beat. Completely put West Ham to the sword in the game. Let me take your thoughts on this particular one. It was a really easy game for us, especially in the first half. It tightened up in the second half, and it was a little more decent.
Yeah, you see, we did a game on radio, and I remember saying that Arsenal henceforth cannot afford to lose or draw any game. Whatever they do, they are still playing catch-up. I said that they bottled the last 2 seasons. I think they were in the position that was deserving of them going on to win the league. They didn't do that. This season, truth be told, hasn't gone according to plan.
Yeah.
I thought they would now go up there and be the pace setters. Unfortunately, Liverpool are the pace setters. So when you go into such games and you are not where everybody expects you to be, you need to be this deadly, you need to be this clinical.
Yeah.
And they were so emphatic in whatever they did. I was so impressed with the way they started the game. From the blast of the referee's whistle, they just took absolute charge. And every player in that Arsenal team was so much in sync with whatever they were doing. The passing, the movement, the awareness, the pressing, how quickly they won back the ball. They know that in terms of technique, they had the better players than West Ham. And they knew also that when West Ham won the ball off them, all they needed to do was to go and press them. Incessant, relentless pressing. The moment they did that, the West Ham players didn't have the quality to dribble pass. So they end up just kicking the ball. By you doing that, you are doing a turnover. And Arsenal kept coming. But one thing that needs to be highlighted, I was very, very disappointed in the manner in which West Ham conceded that first goal. In such games, if the opponent is that dominant, it's all about the first goal. Once they get
First goal was from the corner.
From the corner kick. Look, there are certain teams in this league that we all don't expect to concede from a set piece. One of such teams is West Ham, because they've got good, sizable ball
I
headers.
think since David Moyes left, that thing has gone away.
No, I stay there. In terms of the Sue check, those guys
maybe
are
the
still
organization and the
there.
focus on it.
The Portuguese.
Yeah.
But this is why I'm disappointed. Arsenal have shown time and time and again that the most powerful or the very obvious header
Target.
of the ball is Gabriel.
Yep. Some way, somehow,
as to how
teams are not
he's
neutralized.
left all alone by himself
Yep.
to be heading these balls into the net without being challenged is extremely very disappointing. At this level, there has to be an antidote to that. Because this is not the first time we've seen them do that. They've done it.
He even scored midweek.
He even scored again in midweek from a same set piece. So at the end of the day, you look at the opponent coaches, is that this league is noted for coaches doing their homework and doing it very, very well. But so far,
To be fair to them, there has been a variety. So they've done some near post, they've done some in the middle of the box.
irrespective of the
nearly
variety,
always Gabriel.
it is the same person who is heading the ball in the back of the net.
That's true.
So something must be done about it.
Or maybe we should give him credit for being exceptional.
Yes, you want to credit him, but I'm talking about the opposing coaches. I mean, the coaches doing the defending.
Yeah.
I think I've always said here that when there's a corner kick, the advantage is always, in terms of numbers, it tends to favor the defending team.
Yeah.
If you put all your players in the box, for the fact that one person is going to take that corner kick, it is 10v9. 10v9, at least one person
And
can
the goalkeeper
block
will also be
there. So in addition, so let's say it's 11v9 in your box. So one player should be blocking his movement.
Yeah.
The other person should be challenging him and making sure that he's not heading the ball cleanly like he normally does. And for me, look, to that his coach. It's like anytime there's a set piece, he stands from the touchline and the signal is made. Once he does that, the entire playing body is aware of where the ball will be put and who is going to tackle it. But having said that, again, it was an emphatic win. You want to credit them. One thing that made me accept the fact that they are thinking about Wednesday was in the moment it became that comfortable, he just withdrew his key players. Because Wednesday they are playing the young man, Amorim. Okay, he just arrived. He's going. The Arsenal will start that game as awesome favorite. I expect Arsenal to beat United, but I want to see a performance. So look, Saka is scoring now. Odegaard is scoring now.
I think they have
Havertz
like
is scoring
different
now.
goal scorers.
Gabriel is scoring now. If they can sustain that over the season, then you want to look at and say, look, this guy could go. What they do?
Yeah.
They will need Liverpool to drop
Points for them to
for
gain
them to
ground.
be back into the equation.
Your thoughts on West Ham United? Again, played, I think, 2 good games leading up to this one. I thought they were going to give Arsenal them to win, but the manner in which they lost the game was extremely disappointing.
Well, the rumor was Lopetegui had been given 2 games to save his job. The game, who did they play last week? That they beat Newcastle
Yeah, they played
and this game, which are tough games to give you. And they had a good, creditable performance, won the game against Newcastle. But you revert back to type. And by type, I mean their form this season with a poor performance. You concede 4 unanswered goals at home in the first half. It's not good enough. I don't know if you are in a position where they are saying you are supposed to save your job and that's the performance you give up. You seem to don't, like, if you had lost 2-1 or 1-0 or 2-0, you can, but 4 unanswered goals is tough. It's really tough, and I don't know. It just shows that their team is fragile. There's a lot of things that don't go well. Like, I'll even go back to the set piece thing. I think for that, we should give credit to Arsenal because they keep finding new ways to score from set pieces.
So it is the same person who is heading
But
the
that's
ball.
what I'm saying.
I don't remember the last time any other player
But
did
coach,
that.
that's why I say we have to give them credit because
So you
everyone
can't
That's what I'm
knows the
saying.
ball
Give
is
Gabriel his
everyone
flowers.
because the ball is going to
it's,
Gabriel.
I think it's a
yet
lot more difficult. It's a lot more
getting there.
difficult to know the focus of the opposing team scouting
And
reports
yesterday
on
you
dead
find a
ball.
way to
And
do it.
yesterday you are finding
But
ways to
then
get
you
it.
have to discredit the opposing
Fair
team.
game.
That's
Fair.
what-
I
you
think
credit
it's fair.
him, but
I
I
feel
think
like
it's
they
fair.
do a lot of blocking and things like American football.
Yeah,
You know, they are.
and you should see them like before they take. They're almost clearing. Like he's like a quarterback. They're
This
like almost
thing-
clearing space for him to go
this
ahead. the
thing
ball.
will obviously not be happening in those days of John Terry, Vidic, Ferdinand. They would have dealt with it
no. I disagree. I feel like right now the rules are a bit more strict about pushing it.
Yeah.
Because if you remember, let me even give you an example. The Inter Milan Chelsea game.
Yeah.
2010 when they won the Champions League. There's some corner. Walter Samuel doesn't even look at the ball. He just holds Drogba like
What
one
I'm
can do
saying
that
is
anymore.
that,
VAR and all
you,
of that.
you need not hold. But if you look at how dominant Terry, Carvalho, Vidic, Ferdinand,
You don't expect them to be.
no man, they would have dealt with it with Chicky.
Oh, no,
It's
think
either
that's
here
the
or
thing,
there.
They plan for you. They blocked you. They done someone to
No,
on the
it's-
keeper.
You know what, the other day I
and
said
things.
that for those goalkeepers,
Yeah.
if I'm the coach of any of the team, if Kai Havertz, whoever attempts to block my goalkeeper, you are elbowing him into the face quick.
Or you're getting a red card.
No, you're not getting a red card. You're coming out and he's blocking you, so you are preventing yourself from being blocked.
Go.
I'm telling you. No, but
No,
he can
it's
come
fair.
and block you. You cannot free yourself.
But you see, that's what's so smart about it.
I think the margins. I think the
point I'm
margins
saying
are
is
really
that
fine.
The margins are very. He can come and block you.
The
But you
slightest-
cannot get
the
him out of
slightest-
it.
Coach, that's what they are very smart about. Like Ben White, you come and stand or like on
Yeah.
the keeper's toes.
I don't know if you've
and
seen-
then
You
then
can
For-
stand.
there was
The
an
one
incident,
I'm moving
right?
and you're blocking me.
There was an incident, right? I think it was Jorginho. So the back take the corner. He went to stand in front of the goalkeeper. And he's talking to the goalkeeper. He's flapping his arms. He's doing all kinds of things. Then there's somebody else also who they form like a little square
Yeah, then
or rectangle.
then they'll
It's-
pull into that zone. Then they block.
It's very
Bam.
interesting.
That's what I'm saying.
Look,
Even
I want to see them block Onana on Wednesday.
We'll
oh,
see.
they'll block
We'll
him.
get
They'll
there.
block him.
Oh, he'll deal with them. He would, because for him, if you block him, he will deal with them.
We'll get the fair game, but
I
you
just
build
want
the
to say
point.
we have to give them. I feel like the set piece especially. I feel
Yeah,
like
yeah,
at
he's
this
doing
point,
well.
if you consider a set piece go against Arsenal, it's not your
He's
fault.
worth every cash. he's
And
making.
truth be told, there was a stat that every team they've played over the last 3 seasons, like the teams that have not been relegated, the only team they've not scored a corner against is Liverpool. And that's because they don't get corners against Liverpool. So I think we should give them credit.
They got corners against Liverpool, but Van Dijk
No,
and
but
Konate
that's what I'm
and
saying.
Co.
Usually, if you look at their average corners
So
against
it
Liverpool,
works
it's like 2
against
or 3.
99% of
Yeah,
teams.
so I mean,
Then you ask us, why is it not working against Liverpool?
but they scored a free kick, so you have to say a set piece did work.
On Liverpool, there's Van Dijk, there's Konate.
But coach, Marino scored a free kick the last game.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
that's what I'm saying. The set pieces work. The
that
corners are not working. But I'm just saying they will
Credit to
find
them.
they will
Credit to
find their way. So I feel like we should relax. I understand what you're saying, coach, because the way we see it, set piece are something you should be
if
there.
I'm the coach,
you can plan for it, but
I wish I would be the set piece coach for Manchester United on Wednesday. I just instruct Onana, whoever stands in front of you to block you, bah, just free yourself, free yourself, free yourself.
coach, please, I'm not the defender.
I'm telling
No,
you, free yourself. You can come and say, I cannot free myself. Actually,
This is hilarious. Anyway, just land for me. I mean, in your words, do you keep Lopetegui because you're not too deep into the season? You can unplug him now and quickly solve the situation. What do you do?
Well, it's more about what are their aims for this season. Do they want to go to Europe? Are they aiming for mid-table? Or is it just don't get relegated? Because if it's don't get relegated...
West Ham can't be on don't get relegated.
But that's what I'm saying. It depends on what your goals are. Because if your goals are Europe, it's probably too late. You should have sacked him by now. If you are thinking mid-table, you might give him 2 or 3 games and see. If your aim is just don't get relegated, you can even wait until halfway through the season and see.
Maybe.
It really depends on what you want from the season. And also, there's we all know the financial thing is part of it now.
Exactly.
How much are you going to pay him if you have to terminate his contract? How many of his staff have you brought?
That
What
you need to pay.
compromises have you made for him? Because this is a coach, if you think
They
about
bought him a lot of players.
and his pedigree as a coach, this is a Europa League winning coach, former Madrid coach, former Spain coach. For West Ham, this seemed like a big deal. We've gotten a top manager to take us to the next level. It's not worked out. I suspect that even if things don't go too badly, because there's no real threat of relegation, considering their quality and their teams around them, they might even give him the whole season. Give him even next season to start because of the investment. But maybe they'll take away player recruitments from him. Because you don't want to buy players for a manager you are not sure about. So all of these things are things you have to consider. So I think he's relatively safe, but depending on how trigger happy the coaches are, the board and management are feeling, he might be gone. Like I said, it depends on their ambition. If your ambition is to win, to be in the top 6, top 8, he has to go. If your ambition is, we want to finish above 14th, he can stay.
okay, what I'll just add to that, if he gets beat by Liverpool, by Arsenal yesterday, let's say any of the top 4, top 5 teams, you can look at them and say, look, they are just not capable of undoing those guys. But if he's losing against those Bournemouth, Brentford,
Teams that are
Everton,
on your strength level.
he should be sacked.
I think even the manner of losing to the top teams matters.
teams.
Like that, the way they scored
this
4
5-2,
like that.
No.
That's
It
unacceptable.
does, everyone knows, okay, you lose to Arsenal, it happens.
But
Last season,
I have
and
to-
you know, he can even argue last season, they lost was this 6-0. So
Yeah,
he's
6-0.
improved. He can argue that, but on a more serious note, that's not
You
what
should be
they're
doing
looking
better
for.
than that.
Yeah, because David Moyes was sacked. David Moyes even won a European
Yeah,
trophy
and still
was
found
sacked
a way
for
to
being
fire
what,
him.
9th. So,
Anyway, so Arsenal Football Club doing what they can do to keep up the title race. West Ham United have their priorities all over the place. Nothing is working for them. Chelsea are level on points with Arsenal. I said last week that is it okay if Chelsea fans, or I was asking if it's okay if they started dreaming. Well, whether you like it or not, I'm putting you in the title mix because you are level on points with Arsenal. They played against Aston Villa, and Aston Villa are struggling. Let's get the highlights of that game. Chelsea Football Club, 3 goals, 3 points, clean sheet. Let me start you, Susu, on this one. Like I said, is it too early or premature to consider them contenders? Because you might say your in season or when you are coming into the season, these were not your expectations, but the table doesn't lie.
Yeah, the title charge has been thrust upon them. When you're in a position like this, we all said Arsenal were the team who were going to challenge Man City for the title. So if you are level with them at this stage, we have to put you in that conversation. It's inevitable. But it bodes well for Chelsea because Chelsea's aim was probably we want to get back into the Champions League. And on their form, the way the season is going, it looks like they'll likely do that. It seems that Chelsea, when they meet teams that they are kind of quote-unquote better than player for player, they win those games. Then when they meet the teams that might be a bit better than them, they are not too certain to win those games, which is a good place to be. Because if you want to be top 4, if you win the majority of the games for the teams below you, let's say that's about 15 teams. So you do that and you win most of those games. That's a lot of points come the end of the season. So it's a very, very good place to be. But for Aston Villa, look, it's not good. I think this is 8 games without a win.
Oh,
so you have to ask questions because they again were a team, they finished 4th last season. You know, and it looks like they're having the same thing that happened to Newcastle last season where you finish 4th. There's now raised expectations. People expect you to do well, and it's like you can't keep it up. So we all thought that Chelsea, Aston Villa, Newcastle, and a bunch of other teams will be challenging for that 4th place, knowing that Liverpool, Man City, and Arsenal will be the top 3. That was probably the kind of thinking a lot of us had going into the season. But it looks like Chelsea have kind of pulled away. It looks like now the top 4 is very secure because I still feel that Man City will turn it around eventually. But it's also not looking good for them. But I like where Chelsea are. They're an outside chance for the title right now because you still think that Arsenal and Liverpool are better teams. You also trust their coaches a bit more. So you expect them to also have the stamina over the course of the season. But I like the way Chelsea are shaping up right now. They are looking a lot better
They're
than
rotating heavily. If they are playing
they have a Europe,
Conference League.
They have a Europe team and a league team. Look, I like the way they are looking. It's not what I would have said at the beginning of the season because I thought Poch did a decent job. You know, I thought that things were getting better. Maybe give him the next season to kind of build upon the end of the season they had that was very good. But Maresca has come in and he's flying through the season. Like they haven't had a slow start. So it also now makes you wonder, was I actually underrating the Chelsea players and overrating Pochettino? It questions the last manager, but he's doing very well. And I think it's been a good surprise for Chelsea. They're in a very good place. They can watch their team and smile nowadays.
Coach?
What I like about them is the fact that it is not a try and error thing. Whatever they do, they believe that is the way to do it. And you must give credit to the manager. He's not been there for this long. This is his 13th high-profile game. He hadn't coached in the Premier League.
He came
before.
from Leicester.
He came
Man
City
under 21,
exactly.
Leicester, and then here.
You understand? So for them to do the things they do and the convictions with which they do those things, that is what is of great interest to me. Whenever they are on the ball and they are building, you clearly see a clear pattern. You receive, you pass, you go to Palmer. If the pass is not there, you hold it. Let's go wide. And the Neto and the Madreke are all enjoying their football. Again, they are recovering the ball so quickly that look at the first goal. Villa took the way on the counter-attack. Kukurea steps in on the black side and recovers the ball.
And some of the players, they've also improved a lot.
Exactly.
Someone like Kukurea.
Kukurea, he's amazing. The form that he had in the Euros.
Even from Brighton, when
Brighton,
they
when they bought him, he was very shaky. You remember he came, he wasn't.
But he looked like he was not
the
going to
latter
find his
part
way.
of the season,
Picked up, took it to the
Spain took him
Euros.
to the Euros.
Yeah.
He was absolutely balling there, and he's brought that form here. Again, I need to highlight Nicolas Jackson. Look, that first goal was a class act. It wasn't. That goal was so difficult a goal to score, and he made it look so easy. And what made it even more beautiful was the fact that it was on his weaker foot. When Kukurela gave him, and he was not running onto the ball. He was halfway. That is proper technique. When the cross was coming, the ball was behind him, and he was halfway, and there was a defender there. For him to have wrapped his foot around the
player
ball.
who has shocked me the most, because last season he didn't look capable of these things.
For him to have wrapped the ball into the back of the net like he did, absolutely brilliant.
Literally every week now.
Absolutely brilliant. And look at the second goal. Palmer picks up the pass. The first touch from Enzo Fernandez sets it up, and then he places the ball in the back. Those goals will not allow the goalkeeper to position and get ready.
No.
The pass control, pop into the end. It is done with a lot more conviction and belief.
Yeah.
Look at that third goal again. Look at the moment the ball left his foot, you could clearly see it was in the back of the net. It's good to have them put some decent consistency to a winning run. Like Susu rightly said, it is against the big boys. For me to rather look at them and say, look, I think they will challenge for the title. I want to see them begin to beat some of the big boys. So far, they've not done that. They've not beaten any of the big teams. When I talk big, they didn't
You only beat a Liverpool, you only beat an Arsenal.
A Man City.
Man United as well.
United a few distance away from that. But they couldn't beat United when they went to Old Trafford. So if I see them stake a claim, a proper claim against these big teams, then I'll look at them.
You take them a little more
They
serious.
will need to take them serious towards the league title.
Comment on Unai Emery's Villa for me, because like we established, almost 8 games in all competitions without a win. Champions League is not working out. League is not working out. They're not scoring.
I think they're feeling the intensity of playing in Europe and coming to play in the Premier League. And for the very unexpected high standard that he set.
Because they went from last season in the Conference League and they went far. But the teams you play in the Conference League are a level or two below. Even the West Champions League.
They're up against Juventus in midweek.
They are playing Bayern Munich, they are playing Juventus. These are big teams that will suck a lot of your energy away from you.
And you don't have such a big squad.
Their squad is very, very thin. Today, if you look at those guys they had on the bench, none of them were impact players, apart from Duran. He's the only person that when things are not going well, you can put on
and the problem is that when he starts to, he seems to struggle.
He seems to struggle.
So you can't even give Watkins the rest he needs.
At all. And Unai Emery himself will have to tweak his tactics a little bit. I've always had problems with the way he goes about his pressing. I admire him as a coach, but I've said, and I'll always repeat myself, they are the only team that presses the ball a bit differently. So when they are stepping up high up the pitch, they don't wait for their front guys to trigger the press, and they don't do that. As for them, the moment the opponent gets the ball, let's push up.
Their pressure on the ball is not good.
It's very, very bad. And when you do that, you tend to...
When you have good ball playing players on the
like
other side.
Palmer, he will find the pass, and he will split it open. So he needs to go back. They've gone 8 games without a win. He needs to tweak something a little bit and get them to restore parity. When I say restore parity, like Man City threw away a 3-0 lead in Europe in midweek, which I solely blame on Pep Guardiola. Today he didn't get a chance to say we've scored 1, we've scored 2, we've scored 3, so we want to go and score 4, 5, 6. He needed them to come into this Liverpool game with the winning mentality. Villa will have to look at the next game to be a game to put an end to this losing streak, so that the players will now begin to believe that, look, after all, we are that good and we can put some fear into our opponent. If he doesn't do that and he keeps playing the way he's playing, they will go through a bit more difficult time.
I just want to add, I think also Emery, part of it, he plays better when he's a bit of an underdog. Because when we've seen that he's not hard to be the protagonist. When he was at Sevilla, there was no... When you're at Sevilla, no one expects you to have...
do anything.
Just, win the games you can win, and let's see what we can do. Villarreal got them to the Champions League semi-final. Very comfortable sitting back.
Even Villa, when he came, they were battling relegation. He took them from
Yeah,
relegation
badly with Steven
to
Gerrard.
the
They
conference
were like
league.
15th, 14th.
Into the conference
Went
league.
to the conference league.
Got
Went to the
European
got to the
Champions League
Champions
football.
League. So I think now the pressure of expectation and teams taking them more seriously. Teams are not going to open themselves up. And because of the bad pressing coach talked about and the high line, when teams take you more seriously and your team is a bit disorganized in that
They'll
press,
punish you.
it just means bang, they'll just play through you.
Yep.
And I like Emi Martinez, but I think sometimes, once in a while, because he's great at penalties and that kind of stuff, people forget that sometimes, week to week, he's not always the best. So you can't rely on him the same way that if you had Alisson or someone else, one of the top, I always say he's a tier below.
can't
the
rely
best.
on your goalkeeper
I feel
to
like
save you.
No, I think the thing is, he's a good goalkeeper, but he's a tier below the very best in the world.
A
It just
step
it
below.
just so happens that he's very good at one particular skill that's very good for international football, which is penalties. So I think that's why he's always winning these awards, best keeper in the world. But in reality, week to week, I don't think he's there. And it shows in some of these games when teams get a lot of opportunities. You just don't know which Martinez will show up. So that adds to the uncertainty and things. And a lot of their players are in that zone of being a tier below the very best. So they are good players when used a specific way, when coached a specific way. But you can't rely on them to kind of take you to the next level. I think that that's what's even being shown in the last few weeks, because it's like everything is going bad at the same time. Right. Poor form, they are tired, and now the fact that they just have that little bit less quality is making them look back. I'm not saying they are bad players.
Yeah.
I think that this is still
Bad
one of the top 6-8 squads in the league for sure. But when you're in that zone, you need to get everything right to hit the highs they hit last season, and it's not happening.
Well, there's a team that is hitting all the right notes, and they haven't won by 4 clear goals in as long as I can remember. Manchester United were up against Everton, who are expected to be decent defensively under Son Dijk. Didn't happen. United scored really good goals early, and it was really a comfortable win at the end of the day. Yep, first Premier League win for Ruben Amorim. 4-0, clean sheet, 3 points.
Yeah.
Big win.
Big win. Good win. But there are still issues. If you look at that win, I think the first goal was a very good goal. The one from the corner, clearly training ground routine. The second goal was a giveaway. Brentford should have been stronger. He should have anticipated better. He didn't. And then I think that the third goal was a good goal. The fourth goal was another giveaway. They will not get that on Wednesday against Arsenal. But at this level, when a team is that sluggish,
You need to punish
it is proper you punish them. But that is the very best. That is the topmost level of the game. My only worry with the team is still the manager is still rotating the team. When you look at him, you listen to him, he emphasizes the fact that because he wants them to play at a very high intensity, he's not able to train them every single day. They played on Thursday, and he did say that everybody who played more than 60, 70 minutes will not train on Friday, will just go and do a slight shake-up, and then is required to play intensive game on Sunday. Against Arsenal, I'm using the word Arsenal because don't get carried away by this 4-0 victory. It is not against Everton that you can say everything is back to normal. I don't expect Man United to beat Arsenal. Look, to be very honest with you, if they were to beat Arsenal on Wednesday, I would be shocked. And I'll look at Mikel Arteta and say, look,
You
are not serious at all. Because this Amorim 3-4-3 is still being experimented. I still do believe that not every player in that United setup
fits
into the system. Maybe the back line looks solid with Onana, Martinez, Delete, and Mazwari. They look solid. The guys those guys in front of the back line. Today it was Casemiro and Kobe Mainoo. Kobe Mainoo and Casemiro look very slow. Kobe Mainoo, you can say yes, he's just coming back from a long-term injury. Against Arsenal, I think he has to go Casemiro, Ugarte. Anything apart from that, United will be in big trouble with the movement of Casemiro strictly restricted that he needs to protect. Ugarte, he's got the legs to bump. And then let me highlight on Ahmad. The boy has been fantastic. I think so far, he's the only player who has shown that he fits into the system. let me say, the only forward attacking player. And then Rasmus Højlund, because he said he's used to that system because that is what he used to play in Atlanta.
Wouldn't you credit Rashford because he has 3 goals in 2?
He has 3 goals in 2 games, yes. But we are looking at his all-round performance. Clearly, he cannot lead the line in the big games. If Rashford is going to play, look, he's very restricted in this system. He cannot play as any of the wing backs. He cannot play as a number 9. He can only play as one of the number 10s. And in that role, you need to be a creative player. You need to control, pass, be patient, weave your. He's not that type of player. So there's a lot more to be fixed. But Everton, Sean Dykes will look at this thing. I hear they are going to open their new stadium next season. I am praying that everything tactically, technically should be done to make sure they don't get relegated. I listened to their run of fixtures after this game in December. They play Liverpool, they play Arsenal, they play Man City, and I was like, wow. With this level, with this standard of play, I mean, they are going to be in big trouble. Congratulations to United from 13th to 9th. They are just 4 points off top 4. Apart from Liverpool, who seems to have opened a good gap.
Everybody else is within touching distance.
Everybody else is within touch. And I'm sure the fixtures in December will go on. For United, they play Arsenal Wednesday. I think they play Nottingham Forest. And then they go and play Manchester City. And then these are tough games. Let's see how they're able to navigate.
City.
Yeah, if they're able to navigate that, maybe 6 out of 9, 7 out of 9 will be oh la la, go for top 4. But 3 out of 9 will be a bit disappointing. That game, Arsenal, Man City, they are both away games. If they can get a draws
out of those
or
games,
a win in one of them and beat Nottingham Forest, they are in with a shot with top 4.
Just close out this window for us before we take our second break on the show. Everton not doing well, but what have you liked about the Amorim era? Who looks like they'll be out the door pretty soon?
Oh, like Coach said, Rashford is. He has a very specific way he wants to play. He likes to stretch the play. So I feel like his style of play works if you are going to sit deep, break on the counter. And I feel like maybe he's not been held by some of the coaches they've had who've liked to play on the counter, who have kind of molded him to that player. Ole, Mourinho, and co. They have kind of emphasized that counter-attacking play, maybe to the detriment of his other skills. Bruno Fernandes has looked very good. I think because he's
a bit more calm. Yeah. He's taking care of the ball.
The coach did say that Bruno likes to play the Hollywood pass a bit more. He needs to relax. I believe that because they have a lot of young players, everyone has a chance. But I worry about their 2 strikers, Zexi and Højlund. Even though they say they are playing better, the reason being that they've been put in a situation that's unfair to them. And the reason I say this is that both strikers were not particularly prolific before they came to United. But they were put in a situation where it's like, you have to be our savior.
And they are both relatively very young.
Yeah, and look, I saw Højlund, we saw the potential. But remember, they paid 70 million for him after scoring 9 goals. That's, if you pay 70 million for someone who scored 9 goals, it's like you are paying that money for someone who scored 30. It's a bit unfair. So I want to see how the 2 of them adapt to this new system. Zexi didn't particularly play as the striker today. So maybe there's a potential for the 2 of them playing together. So, but obviously the older players like Casemiro, he has to go. It's not about
Casemiro, Eriksen, Maguire, Johnny Evans, Lindelof. I mean, on top of that, about 8 of them will have to be shipped out.
I believe Lindelof and Maguire, this
is their last year.
These 3 at the back, they might be able to do something with it. But I'm not saying they should keep them. I'm not saying they should keep them, but I feel like it will help them.
They will do something. They can do something.
They can do something.
They are in the last.
Let me take a break. Let me take a break on the show. I insist that Maguire, my captain, can do something to save his place.
Look at this one.
I don't know why Maguire.
Let's take a break. Let's take a break on Scorecard. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Scorecard here on Channel 1 TV. Let me see if I can read a few of your messages before we go on with the highlights. So this one here says, good evening, guys. You guys are doing well. My problem is that you people pay little attention to our local league. He says you are not helping the local league. Well, there were no local league matches played this weekend. I think it was FA Cup. And when they do, we typically start our show.
We don't even have, we're forced to talk about them. We don't even have video clips. There's nothing to talk about.
He says we are not helping the local.
I think he's been unfair to us because
That's what I'm saying. We don't even have the clips.
What does he want us to do? The football we speak about all the time. The football is bad.
We have
the culture around it.
In fact, you know what's ironic? We have a whole 1 hour show on Wednesday dedicated to promoting local football.
Do you even have video clips to show during that program? We don't have it.
I'm sorry, but come again. Anyway, Sir Joe from Tamale says, good evening, guys. We thank God for another special Sunday. May God see us through the week. Chelsea all the way. Greetings to Coach and Susubai. The way, tell Coach, when Man United start losing, I hope the dancing will not stop. Greetings to all Chelsea fans.
You can dance if you want. If your team is winning, dance.
This was this. Good evening, Ben. I'm happy Man United have made my day. Glory, glory, United. Super. Nana from Equiapim Latte, okay? This one here is coming all the way from Lusaka, Zambia. It says Liverpool to win the league. Man City supporters to return to their respective clubs. Dylan from Manchester, Lusaka, Zambia with that one. Okay. Anyway, this one here is from Mahadi from Takwa. Says, please tell Coach that this is just Everton. And up next, Arsenal will beat them, and then you can dance any type of dance. I love this show, especially when Coach is on the screen. Well, he says that. He says that. I'm shocked. He's analyzed that game pretty well, and like he says, you to go and dance for your team, really. Go and dance for your team. Coming from Joel, he says, hope whatever is cooking at Man United holds. Red, red, red. Someone from Inside Koforidua says, Ryan Gravenberch is the best midfielder in the world right now. His on the ball and off the ball movement is incredible. Winning most duels in a central midfield, deployed as a DM is not average. Boy, oh boy, it's a high played
We've seen.
To be honest,
he's doing very well.
Yeah, and you see, right now it's hard to discredit him because his team is top of the league in the Champions League.
He's doing
top of the
very
league
well
in the Premier League.
He's doing very well. But if you've seen the likes
but trophies are not won in October.
I know, of course.
November.
Fair game.
Actually, it's December now. So.
Fair game.
Today is the first time. Yeah, happy first time.
David from Achimota says, I know this dancing will be cut short sooner than later.
What about a picky? Oh, I'm already picky. Go and dance for your coach.
He said just one convincing win and coach is dancing break.
No, I danced last week.
Coach was dancing before he was even. The day he was high, coach came to dance.
I was dancing. Dance for your coach.
No, forget them. Dance your dance.
You know some of these things. I know you want to get coach and things, but the Amorim came. No, he danced. He danced.
Respo from Takwa says, I can see Ben is really happy. Congrats to your team winning today. We deserve to lose. I think part of the problem is Pep. He's too stubborn and proud. I'm not even sure what that means. Simon says that please tell the man dancing beside you that he should calm down. It's too early to jubilate. We, the Chelsea fans, are not dancing like that, even though we are ahead of them with a big margin. Charlie, you're dancing, they worry the Chelsea fans. Wow.
But why don't you like to see someone happy?
I'm dancing for my coach.
I don't like that.
Coach has a special relationship with Chelsea fans. His dancing is very disturbing to them. Anyway, let's go to another game that was also a London derby of some sorts. Fulham were at Craven Cottage when they took on Tottenham Hotspur. Tottenham, ever inconsistent. Fulham had a red card in this game, some way, somehow. Yeah. So Spurs actually rather were at home on this one. So this was at the Tottenham Stadium. Sorry about that. Let's get to the highlights of that one. So let me start with you, Susu. Spurs fans were rightly disappointed, booed around the stadium when the final whistle went. This is not the kind of team that Ange said will possibly win a title. They said they'll win something at the end of the season.
He says in the second season he always wins something.
Do they look like that?
I mean, the Carabao Cup is going well, so let's see how that goes. But the real problem is the inconsistency because imagine you're a Spurs fan. You've beaten Man City last week. Okay, you get a 2-2 draw in Europe in the week. You come and you have Fulham at home. You're thinking to yourself, let's get this result. Let's kind of push on. Let's kick on from the result. And you join your next two matches after Man City. It's disappointing. And you go to the Etihad, you win 4-0. It's a statement victory. It's the type of victory you feel like, okay, now our season is kicking on. We are taking it to the next level. So you can understand the disappointment. And I don't blame them. And I don't know what it is about this team. You can say, okay, there are injuries and stuff. But they took those same injuries to Man City and got
won
a
the
4-0
game.
win.
Exactly.
So is it that Man City are that bad that Fulham are more of a test than Man City? You get what I'm saying? Like, is that what we are trying to say? So I understand the frustration. Look, They're just too inconsistent. And I don't know what it is because it doesn't matter who the coach is, who the players are, they are inconsistent. So it's very disappointing because now you really wonder to yourself, was it Harry Kane? You know, someone like Harry Kane, how many goals did he score? And he never went anywhere. And what was that point? And you're looking at look at someone like Son. He's also been there for a lot of years. What has he won? And you see some of the younger players they've bought, some of the other guys they've bought. Is it going to be their story too? So I just hope Ange wins something because look, they are good players, they are okay, but they need to get that consistency. They need to do better because this game like this, it wasn't a case of they fell asleep. They just didn't show up. Fulham, I think, probably had an edge in the game, if you think about it. So this is not the type of game they can look and feel like, we should have.
And Fulham got a red card in this game.
Yeah, Fulham got a red card later on. So they just need to be more consistent because a team like Fulham at home, you should win. Ipswich at home, you couldn't win. So there's so much inconsistency in this team because we're complaining that, Spurs don't win any games away from home. Suddenly they can't win games at home. So what is really the truth? So I don't know. It's difficult to kind of process and dissect what the actual issue is because from week to week, you don't know which Spurs is going to show up. That's the bigger problem, that they can't get any consistency from this team.
Coach?
I think it's a combination of two things. The fact that I've come to accept that is within the DNA of the club. Like you rightly said, they are that inconsistent and they've accepted that.
This is who we are.
Unacceptable. You can't do that. And there are times where the players don't challenge themselves a bit more. Because if you put up a top world-class performance against Man City at the Etihad, and you look at
So you think it's a motivation thing?
Yeah, and it has to do with the psyche of the boys. Because you and myself watched Sarr and Bissouma in that City game, completely bossed Man City at the Emirates. Today you look at the same Sarr and Bissouma, very lethargic in their approach, absolutely very slow. Even in the transition, they were that slow. Fulham tactically knew what they had to do because they know that, you see, that playing surface is a top standard playing surface.
Very big surface.
Probably the nicest stadium in England, to be honest.
And it's very big and wide.
Very wide ground.
So if you are the opponent and you are not compact, Spurs will take you to the cleaners. So Fulham came into the game, knew they had to be compact, and they did it. So they were not overly expressive, but they waited for their moment. When they had to go forward, they did so with intent. Spurs, shockingly, did not press the ball like they pressed the ball against Man City. And that has to do with the mentality of the players. There were moments in this game where Poch was extremely very angry, just trying to get them to go and press.
You mean
Ange, I mean, okay?
Yeah.
It's PO, so I allow coach.
Just go, let's go. They wouldn't go. And for me, look, they should be looking at themselves. I think if they can put some decent, consistent run, they are a possible candidate for top 4. They are a possible candidate for top 4.
They are one of the teams we expect.
I am looking at that Europa League.
In fact, they were nearly there, and it's like the last 10 games of the season.
That was what
they threw it away.
They just threw it away.
So look, they have to. I think the players will have to talk to. There are times where, as players, you talk to yourself before
a game.
And that cannot be that when you're going to meet Man City, then you talk to yourself. Everybody is pumped, adrenaline level. Then when you're playing Fulham, and then it switch, then the adrenaline. No, there's no easy game in this league.
Well, one of the things that I want to believe is that they went 13 games unbeaten when he first came. And so they are definitely capable of replicating that type of form.
And that's exactly the point. They had the best starts in the Premier League. Remember, they were top 4.
They did.
For a long time.
Historic start to the Premier League.
And the last 10 games they threw away their chance to be fourth. So it just shows that the inconsistency is always there.
Let's get to the big game for the weekend, and it was at Anfield. Pep Guardiola was trying to snap a losing streak. Liverpool were trying to ensure that they could put daylight between themselves and their potential title rivals. Let's get to Anfield for the footage. A scoreline that really flattered Manchester City. This game could easily have ended 4-0 or 5-0, coach.
I expected it to be 5-0. I had predicted there was no way Man City were going to survive this. Because Liverpool is that team that you don't mess around with. If you are a big team and you are coming to Anfield, when Liverpool are that pumped and they are in a certain groove, they welcome everybody with open hands. And when you get there, they'll show you why they've worked.
And don't forget they played Real Madrid in midweek.
Exactly. Look, I watched the first 25, 30 minutes of this game, and City were completely unrecognizable. I just couldn't recognize them. The Man City under Pep Guardiola, who could bypass.
They were under stress from
I
the
have
first
seen
minutes.
them bypass any form of coordinated press from the opponent. They will find a way to pass the ball and then liberate themselves and go on their attack. But in that first 25 minutes, I lost count of the number of times they lost the ball when they were trying to pass from the back. Liverpool should have been out of sight in the first 20 minutes. But having said that, Arne Slot did something tactically very smart in the second half. Most people thought the Man City dominated that second half. I have a dissenting view to that. Because I believe that you need not possess the ball to be in control of the game. In that entire second half, although City had a chunk of the possession, the Liverpool goalkeeper was on complete holiday.
Yep.
The only save he had to make was when
De Bruyne.
Van Dijk decided to be a bit
In
too
fact-
smart for
In
himself.
fact, there was a stat that said that Van Dijk had a better game XG than Erling Haaland.
That's what I'm telling you.
Well, the thing is, like Coach said, you can have the ball, but at least let's see the
Do
exit.
something with
Exactly.
the ball.
And the truth is, just
Go ahead.
even for these situations, sometimes when a team is chasing, you see that they rack up a high XG
That's right.
because they are creating chances. Maybe it's low quality chances, but there's chances.
Exactly.
And you see by the end of the game, the XG is even close. Even this domination coach is talking about, the numbers don't support it.
Don't support it. So for those of you, maybe if you don't have the tactical eye, you may think Man City. No, yes, they were possessing the ball, but it was to no what effect. Liverpool completely had it under control, and Liverpool, in that shape of being very compact, created the best clearance of chances. Salah put one
wasted.
over the bar,
Yep.
and then there was another one. I think Darwin was it Luis Diaz or somebody also flops his line. Cody Gakpo. There was the one where he got the ball, he came, he shot directly at the goal. Any side on that goal is into the back of the net. So the question here is that, Mr. Pep, what can you do to put an end to a losing streak?
How many games now? 7 games?
Domestically, the 7 games in
all competitions.
Without a win.
domestically, they've gone 6 games without a win. What he should be doing is to accept the fact that this team is going through some difficult times, something that they've never experienced before. Even as a manager, this is something that he's never experienced before. And tactically, when managers go through things they are not used to going through, the best way to remedy the situation is to be a bit pragmatic. He needs to move away a little bit from the overly obsession of trying to dominate the round object in every game, so that they can be a bit compact. They are conceding too many goals. The next moment is 4-1. The next moment is 4-0. The next moment they're conceding 3, having taken a 3-0
I
lead.
just want to point out, this is about the of all the games, I'm not counting the League Cup, every game they've considered an XG of 2 on average. And this
Unacceptable.
game too has joined that. So at least the first game was 1.6, but then when you add the 2 points, whatever, or
It's some- on the
become-
average,
it's 2. And this game was about 2.2.
That is unacceptable. So he needs to be a bit pragmatic.
And he dropped his goalkeeper for this game.
Yes, he did that. And look,
I think that's harsh.
in midfield, the Rico Lewis Gundogan partnership is not working. I would have moved Ikanji
Into
into
midfield.
midfield. Permanent. Say, look, with your body and your physique and the fact that you've got a bit more physical presence, put him in the middle and do a little bit of adjustment at the back. Maybe a back 3, a wing back sort of thing, and then keep the team very compact. But congratulations to Arne Slot. I like the way he goes about controlling his game. He acknowledged they were in the lead, they had something to protect. In that second half, there wasn't the need to be overly expansive. Let's stay compact. If it ends 1-0, it's 11 points. If it ends 2-0, 10-0, it's still 11 points. The essence was to make sure that at the
Win
end
the
of the
game,
day,
have your
the
3
11
points.
point will be intact.
I mean, for Guardiola, we've said a lot of things over here. At this point, how do you move away from Gundogan and Rico Lewis? What are your options What can you do to remedy this situation?
Well, the part of the problem is Kovacic is injured. They would look a lot better with Kovacic.
Exactly.
That's part, and a lot of the players too. Look, the problem is that a lot of them are coming back from injury. They are not as fit as you want to be. So we were talking about how put some pressure on Andy Robertson, start a winger. He doesn't start any wingers.
do that.
We are hearing that it's because of fitness issues and that kind of stuff. I still believe that if you're going to bring them on, at least bring someone for the first half and bring someone else for the second half. Put pressure on him, because at the end of the day, they just didn't threaten in any way. And this was a very bad time to go to Anfield, especially when you are not in the groove. Their next game, I believe, is Nottingham Forest, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, at home.
That's going to be difficult because Nottingham Forest are going to just sit back. Because Nottingham Forest, for them, even if they lose 1-0 or 2-0, they'll tell themselves, look, it's City. City have the better players. We tried to sit back, it didn't work. They'll do what they did against Liverpool, try and sit back, use Elanga, Hudson-Odoi on the counter and cause some problems. So it's going to be a game where you expect City to have the ball, but would they be able to create anything? Will Erling Haaland find space against, who are the centre backs? I believe it's Murillo and Milinkovic. And Milinkovic is very big and strong. So is he going to man-mark Haaland? Are we going to see Haaland not get any space again?
And Murillo is having a really good season himself.
Formerly of Fiorentina, he's a good defender.
Left-footed Brazilian.
Yeah, Murillo came from Brazil. Milinkovic is the Fiorentina one. So you look at the team. I saw a stat where about, is it 50 or 55% of their XG goes to Haaland. And if you look at the starting lineup today, the only player who has scored a Premier League goal this season in their starting lineup was Erling Haaland. That's a problem.
That's crazy.
That's a problem because you have Phil Foden. Let's be honest, Phil Foden has disappeared. He should be on milk cartons at this point.
And beautifully, the English press, they've gone silent.
Anonymous. Nobody's mentioning it.
They've not mentioned it.
You know why they are not mentioning it? There's so much else going on with their team.
You see,
it's almost like you can you see, I think he's a victim of the team's. I think the reason he can escape is that the team is so bad. Is Gundogan can't run, Walker can't run, Pep is scratching himself.
You see,
but you're league MVP.
Just to add this, when they voted him
league MVP,
I said that award should have been given to Rodri. Now everybody is seeing why the award should have been given to Rodri. Now Rodri is no more. Go and win the VP or whatever.
No, I honestly believe it's just that he's just in a situation where, because so many people are
he himself, he's been poor.
Oh no.
He's not scoring. He's not assisting.
He's not assisting. He's not doing anything.
Since the Euros.
Yeah.
The Euros.
Yeah, he was. He didn't have it.
He was the ghost of the tournament. He walked around, didn't do anything. He scored in the Champions League. We thought, okay, he's coming back.
Yeah.
We don't see anything from him, and obviously that doesn't help because now Haaland, everyone knows the ball is going to Haaland. So teams have become very.
You are easy to plan for.
Teams plan very simply. Just be physical, cause Haaland. And you see, when Haaland is playing against someone like Van Dijk, who's just as big and strong as him,
struggles.
Just as fast, and 10 times more experienced, very smart player. All the tricks and things, all the bullying he does, it can't work. And you see that sometimes, even in the recent games when they've been playing Arsenal, the last goal he scored in that game is because they fell asleep. But nowadays, when Saliba and Gabriel deal with him,
able to deal with
you don't see him getting his space. So teams are figuring them out slowly. And in that time, to us, teams are figuring out that, it's everything to Haaland.
Yeah.
They're also becoming more predictable. So you are getting worse. Everyone knows where you are going to. And teams are figuring out that, it's just this. And you see, Haaland, he's a limited player in some senses. Very good striker, very good finisher, but he can't create his own chances.
No.
If you think of someone like the original Ronaldo, that if the ball is at his feet, he can turn the defender inside out and create something for him. Haaland is not that guy. Haaland, just put the ball into the box, put in space for him to attack. Just give him an inch, play the ball in behind. That's the type of striker he is. And it's okay to be that type of striker. But when you don't have certain skills, it makes it difficult for you. Because even if, let's say, he was better at using his right foot, for example, it means that now you're trying to defend him, you don't know which way to go.
Yeah, but you know this guy is very strict with his left.
Those little things just make him, and it's not to criticize him and say he's not a good player. This is one of the best strikers we've seen in world football, but he has limitations. And those limitations mean that when things don't go well,
they are highlighted.
He's highly exposed.
He's highly exposed. That's all it is. So, and you see, the thing is, these players are so good. I feel like they'll turn around. Pep is so smart, they'll turn around. Let the fitness come back. Let them get a bit more, and let Pep just tweak a few things. They'll start winning games again. But now they won't win those 15 in a row. They probably won't win the league this season. But I don't expect them to
continue struggling
and finish
if
in
they
the
win the
bottom half
league
or
this
something.
season, we dissolve the entire Liverpool team.
the rest of the league probably needs to be dissolved.
Yeah.
Because
That is a step too far. But if
that would be shameful.
But if they do it, you're right, it will be shameful. But
That's what I'm saying.
But to be fair, if anyone can do it, it's Pep Guardiola.
Not
not
That's what I'm
with
saying. If anyone, I don't, like I said, I don't expect it.
with
but
the manager,
if it happens,
yes, but not with the
Yeah.
current Kyle Walker, the current those people.
That's why, like we say, if he tweaks it, something will go. But
Yeah.
there's the individual decline, the lack of fitness, the lack of chemistry, and I'll be frank, Haaland's form is also a problem because if you are playing everything through one player, it means it means that he can't have a drop in form. And now he's having a drop in form.
everybody will suffer.
Yeah.
Well, let's take another break here. When we come back, we will go to Catalonia and Madrid, where flick ball was on fleek, and then we'll check out some action from the Spanish capital as well. So stay with us here on Scorecard. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Scorecard here on Channel 1 TV. So Barcelona were up against Las Palmas. They were hoping for an easy ride in that game. They didn't play out like that. Real Madrid were also in the capital taking on Getafe Football Club. Let's get back-to-back highlights of those two games. Kylian Mbappe looking like himself, at least for now. Let's talk about Barcelona real quick. Coach, it's been a little shaky in the last two games or so. Real Madrid are 1 point behind Barca with a game in hand.
Yeah,
and they are supposed to be struggling.
No, there's still a long way to go. You see, this Barcelona problem, you remember I highlighted this thing at the beginning, that if they were to rely solely on the young boys, a time will come, the form will be undulating. That is typical of the development. When these young guys are in charge, you don't expect them to go like that. It doesn't work. Per their development, they will go,
And
then they'll stabilize.
And they stumbled when Yamal went out with the injury.
Exactly. So it is something that is going to happen. What they can only hope is that when they meet Real Madrid, that is when they have to put away those inexperienced character and then do the job there. I did predict Real Madrid to go on and win the league, even when Barcelona beat them 4-0. Because I said that this Barcelona team, they are playing scintillating, delicious football, you may want to call it like that. But because the team is overly reliant on inexperience, they get easily excited, and things that you expect them to be doing or that they've done so well with, they begin to switch off. It's very typical with young players. So because the team don't have money, that is what they can depend on. You want to credit the La Masia for giving them such talent, but over the stretch, I still do fancy Real Madrid to go on and win the league. But Madrid themselves will have to improve in terms of defending and then whatever they do up front. The
Ancelotti
chemistry.
has just said that they are going to play Vinicius through the middle, Mbappe on the left. That's the new strategy they are going to
I don't know how that is going to affect Vini. Because rather, even when Mbappe was not present, it was Bellingham who was seen driving through the middle. It was Rodrigo and Vinicius on the right. They were coming diagonally. The one Bellingham was going through. Now, if you are going to restrict Vini is not good with his back to go. He's good when he's running at the opponent. Let's see how
I want to believe they've probably spoken about
They've
it internally.
spoken to the young man. I want to be, like you're saying, internal conversation might have gone on.
We've all
And the
agreed
boy,
that.
let me go and try there.
But
and see.
that's what Ancelotti said in one of his recent press conferences.
But I'm not sure it's going to
this,
work.
This looks to be like the compromise that they are going for soon.
I'm not sure that it's going to work.
Real Madrid, Barcelona doing their thing. Let's get to Germany to finish it up. It was a derby between Borussia Dortmund and Bayern Munich. It ended 1-1 in the end. Let's check out the highlights. It was Vincent Kompany versus Nuri Sahin. In the end, 1-1 is how it ended. Just quick thoughts.
That sounds like an FM 2005
I know,
team.
I know.
No, look, you expect Bayern have been doing very well. Dortmund are very good at home, so I'm not surprised that a draw was it was a 1-1 result. Great goal from Jamie Gittins. He dropped the Bayern, so say he's just Jamie
What's his
Gittins.
reason for that?
Brandon. I think that is something to do with it being easier to pronounce, shorter name, those things. But look, great goal he scored. But Bayern put on the pressure. Musiala got the equalizer. But I believe their biggest worry is Harry Kane went off injured in the 30th minute, 33rd minute about.
Hamstring?
I'm not sure what injury was. So you look to they are thinking they are playing Leverkusen midweek in the cup. Now you wonder how long is he out? How does that affect that game? And how does that affect the rest of the season going forward? Because in recent years, Bayern haven't really invested in a backup striker because they had Lewandowski, then they got Kane. So they kind of relied on that main striker because he gets you 40, 50 goals a season. You rely on him to take you through the season and hope that the wingers and the other guys chip in when needed. Have some guys come in and play some minutes in strike. So it'd be interesting to see who replaces Kane. For let's say he's out for 2-3 weeks, who replaces Kane and how they play? Because Kane has scored a lot of goals for them. Yeah. He's been doing great, so it'll be very interesting to see how that plays out. But credit to Dortmund because at home they are very good. They need to work on their away form. Again, they are similar to Spurs in the fact that the consistency is not there. They have the moments where they play very well, but sometimes they're just not good enough.
That comparison seems just about right.
Was it last year or Tuesday? They needed to draw on the last day to win. I
remember. I went to Hull for a family funeral, so I was bad internet. I'm trying to follow. I see that Freiburg have scored Dortmund.
Yeah, it was crazy. I just couldn't just fathom what was happening. But I won't even take any more thoughts. Let me just read a few more messages to close it out. This one here says that Hansi Flick is an Arteta mixed with Postecoglou, garnished with Ten Hag, and served as Pep.
Somebody's won a treble.
Football fans already. This one is good evening. Amorim Apeke, fancy from Jasikan. Okay, it looks like the pandemic has caught up. Apeke. This one here says, don't worry, coach. Mikel Arteta will never be serious. From Agogo. This one here says that Van Dijk's performance today reminds us all over again that he's the best centre-back in the game right now. For a player who suffered a crucial ligament injury 2 years ago, playing like the 2018-2019 season is just wonderful. This one says, Graham Potter went unbeaten in his first 8 games. Man United fans need to calm down because we'll be there no matter what. This was from...
But I just want to say, let's be fair to Graham Potter. He had, 33 players he had to coach and things.
To trim down.
Yeah, it was a difficult situation.
From Volta Hohoy says, the only thing that can beat Chelsea now is rain. Aside rain, we can beat everybody. Interesting. Thank you very much, Coach Christopher Nimley. Thank you very much, Susu Graham. Thank you very much to you guys out there for making time to watch us and also making time to send in your messages. Same time next week's Scorecard will be back on your screens.